All right, good morning. Welcome to JDB's Morning Cap. You know what today is. Not only today is Thursday, May 28th, 2026. Today, this is my 100th episode. This is the Milestone. I am so happy because today is the milestone day for me. 100th episodes. I'm really excited about this moment. We're going to talk about my favorite segments, my favorite moments of this show, and one of my favorite topics. This has been an incredible 5 months for me. I know how excited I am about this. I've been going through some ups and downs. I've been going through a joy. I've been going through pain. I've been going through trauma. But I am more than lucky that I've been enjoying this podcast since day one. It is a true blessing to be with this, but you can always handle this situation much easier. It's hard to stand for it. So, believe it or not, I'm going to have two different segments today about the milestone and one of my favorite moments of JDB's morning cap. So we got a lot to get to today. So coming up, my favorite segments of the first 99 JDB's morning cap episodes. We'll talk about AJ Brown's future today. We'll talk Game 6 preview between the Spurs hosting the Thunder in San Antonio. Oklahoma City has a 3-2 series advantage. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And then favorite topics of JDB's morning cap through 99 episodes. So it's been a good moment for me. So I cannot be more prouder than this. So I cannot be more proud the way we handle this situation here. All right. So I'm going to talk about what is my favorite segments of JDB's morning cap through the first 99 episodes in general. So my favorite moment, it was episode 28 of JDB's morning cap. I did the Jesse Jackson. I covered the passing of Jesse Jackson on February. I think it was on February 18th. It was February 18th when I covered that segment. When I talked about Jesse Jackson, he's a great mentor, minister, father, son. I mean, the greatest historical activist of the city of Chicago. He's a great politician. He is a great leadership. I mean, those moments cannot take away from. But he did everything of this community. But this is one of my favorite segments. It was episode 28. I did a double header that day. It was a cool moment for that. Yeah, so it was a great moment for that one. My other moments that I like to see here, I think it was episode It was the second episode of the show, back on January 6th. When I talk about the Dallas Cowboys, when I talk about the Dallas Cowboys, my favorite segment was the Dallas Cowboys defense has been problematic in 2025-26 season. We just been talking about all this because it really feels like everything has gone wrong with Dallas defense, despite they went 7-9-1 in the regular season. I mean, the offense is good, but the defense has been an issue for all these years. But that's the problem, because it really feels like the inconsistencies and all that stuff, they've been going at it. It's really tough. It's tough to get through it. But and then the Cowboys already fired Matt Eberflus. That was episode 2 of JDB's Morning Cap on January 6th, 2026, because of blown coverages, missed tackles, and several other issues that I'm really seeing it right now. So there's a lot going on right now. So that's other favorite moments. So my other favorite moment of this JDB's Morning Cap, I gotta go with episode, shoot. I'm about to go episode 12 in this one. I'm about to go episode 12. Episode 12, when the Buffalo Bills losing a heartbreaker in the AFC divisional round. And it's just because of that. Josh Allen had an eventful game that day. But it's really hard, because if that's the case, then Josh Allen really had everything to go with it, but there's not a lot they can really do about that. So we've seen it time and time again. But we've seen several video cases here, because these episodes, you really like it. Episode 12, Josh Allen, another playoff heartbreak in the AFC divisional round. So my other favorite moments of JDB's Morning Cap, I gotta go with episode my other favorite segments of the show that I talked about. I'll talk about the Chicago Bears wild card comeback, NFC wild card comeback Um, I talked about the NFC wildcard comeback. Between the Packers and Bears. The Bears came back, defeat the Green Bay Packers. Even though they were trailing big at the time. Because it really felt like these guys they can get that done. But it's really difficult to see how that thing is going to go. But we talk about a lot of episodes. The Packers blew a lead because they felt like the offense has completely disappeared. The defense fell apart. Defense clearly fell apart down the stretch. 31-27 was the final score in that game. But talk about all these moments. But we talk about Matt LaFleur's future, but he remained the Packers head coach eventually. But it doesn't make any sense because it feels like we've seen a lot of moments that you do not want to see. But it's really tough to see that. Because of that, you have to go through a lot. You have to go through a lot because of that. And if that's the case, there's not a lot you can worry about it. But it's tough. It's really tough. It's tough to go through it. So it was episode 6 of JDB's Morning Cap on January 12th. So that was that moment. My other favorite segments of the show, I can talk about recent episodes or something like that. Episode 39, I covered Jason Tatum's return. It was episode 42. Episode 42, my bad. It was episode 42 on March 6th. It was March 6th this year. I covered Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum returned against the Mavericks. I did that segment. It was a cool moment. It was a cool moment because I had to cover that segment because Jason Tatum is looking for not only to make a push, they're pushing for a championship run. I mean, it felt like it was a great moment because they wanted to do it with Jaylen Brown after Jason missed the first several months of the season because he had to do the ACL joint. It was 1 year ago that Jason Tatum suffered an ACL tear in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the New York Knicks. But it really has been an incredible journey for Jason Tatum returning against Mavericks. He ended up Celtics winning that matchup against the Mavericks that night. So I think that the best case scenario about that is taking a moment that you're stepping in. But it was really good to see. So it was episode 42 of JDB's Morning Cap. when Jason Tatum returned. And then my other favorite segments of this show, I'm gonna go episode 45. My favorite segment, one of my favorite segments were Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby. Max Crosby out because of it, and Trey Hendrickson was in. So Trey Hendrickson in because he acquired to the Baltimore Ravens. Max Crosby out because the trade was rescinded to the Raiders. Because Max Crosby was injured. He had surgery, so he did not pass his physical test. That's why the trade, Ravens, Crosby rescinded to the trade to the Raiders. It's really tough. But Trey Hendrickson to the Ravens because he felt like this is a better group. They get a better size. But when I talk about Trey Hendrickson, he's done 9 incredible seasons. And because of that, you had to go through the same situation about this. This is what just happened. Trey Hendrickson going to Baltimore is actually a pretty good thing, just exceeding their expectations. Episode 45 took place on March 11th. When I cover that, I covered that Max Crosby trade was lifted and Trey Hendrickson traded and signed a 4-year deal with the Ravens. It was March 11th of this year. That's when I covered that segment. I mean, that was a really cool moment for that. So it's really. So it was a really cool moment because of that. And the other segment I talked about, I'm gonna stay with this, Bam Adebayo's historical 83-point night on March 11th. The Heat, Bam Adebayo had an 83-point night historically on March 11th in a 150-129 win over the Wizards in Miami. It was a great moment for that. It was a really good moment that I really want to see right now. But my other favorites moments, episode 58. Episode 58. I think it was March 30th, 2026, when UConn stunned Duke in the Elite Eight. UConn came back from 19 points down in the Elite Eight matchup in Washington, D.C. and shocked the Duke championship hopeful Duke. So that's what, and this is what happened when we talk about that. And this is a situation you really had. And we seen that time and time again. But we've seen every time they feel like Duke is gonna win a championship. They didn't do that. They lost every heartbreak because of that. And my favorite segments when I talked about was Fernando Mendoza winning the BCS title. It was January 20th when I covered that episode. I believe it was episode 11 when I did the college football playoff national championship game. It took place on January 19th, but I covered that segment on January 20th, if I'm correct. Yep. And also my other favorite segment, that the Bills' heartbreaking loss, I covered on January 20th. That also I covered Sean McDermott's dismissal as well. So I've been covering all of this. It was January 20th, 2026. I mean, it was a good moment right now. It was January 20th, 2026 was that I covered that segment. I did the Fernando Mendoza, the Hoosiers winning their title, the BCS, college football BCS championship over Miami Hurricanes. I did the Buffalo Bills heartbreaking loss in the AFC divisional round. But we talk about all of that. And if that's the case, then it's not a problem at all. So it's just because we want to do everything right with it. So I did a bunch of. We're not gonna get. We just. I think it was episode 12. So it was. And then on episode 15, I did the tribute to the late Kobe Bryant part. It was January 26, 2026. That marked 6 years that when Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna Bryant passed away, along with Antebellum and the rest of those who lost their lives, who passed away on a helicopter crash on January 26, 2020. I covered January 26, 2026. It was the moment I really want to see. So I did that segment because it was so important to about the history and all that stuff, but that we've been talking about. So we've seen a whole lot. We've seen a whole lot of stuff to go on that. So it was a really good, cool moment for that, and a time for the excitement. All right, so that's enough of the moments. I'm gonna save that for later if that's the case. So, what a way to start the show. Unbelievable. All right, when we come back here, we'll talk A.J. Brown's future. It looks pretty close. We'll get to that in a minute. And then I'll preview Game 6 between the Thunder at the Spurs, with Thunder leading 3-2 in that series. And then my favorite topics of JDB's morning cap, I'll talk about that right after this. Tonight, Game 6 of the... actually, I got it wrong. All right, so let's talk in the NFL. A.J. Brown is likely to be traded next week. But they said the Patriots and Eagles are not particularly close on A.J. Brown deal. So here's the question. So the question is, how's this deal could be unlikely between the Patriots and the Eagles trade of A.J. Brown? Well, if the trade is super unlikely, then A.J. Brown's going to go ballistic if the trade doesn't go through. Well, let me tell you this. They can still work it out. They can still work it out. And how they can work this out, they need to get the draft picks from other teams, from this team, and they need like a 6-7 player deal to get that done. If they want to get this done, so they got several days to do it, but they said they're gonna back off the trade. So we already know the situation right now, because the Philadelphia Eagles are going through a stuffered situation because of that. So if that's the case, then you don't have to go through that. But you can't take these moments away because of that. And we just been talking about everything else. But it really helps. It really helps. It really helps. So now for Philadelphia, they just gotta calm down and figure this out. When I look for the Philadelphia Eagles right now, for A.J. Brown, if A.J. Brown doesn't get traded, does he deserve to play this year? No, he doesn't deserve it. He deserves to sit out for the season. Maybe he has to move on from that. I mean, it's all of that, because it really feels like this is the situation you really want, and that's that part. You want to grow from it. And that's not a problem, because it really does help their own situation if that's the case. then there's not a lot you can really worry about. Because of that, it feels like it did everything to set things up. But now you're looking for Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith and Nick Sirianni. When I keep your eyes on it, you would have think the Philadelphia Eagles. You think the Philadelphia Eagles going to miss the playoffs this year? Before I answer this question, you had big time players like Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. You have big time players, big time money, but you got to win. But you got to win all these games. At least you won a Super Bowl with this team. And now you're going to face some severe challenges. Not only A.J. Brown's facing some severe challenges, the Eagles are facing some severe challenges in 2026 season. When I look at their schedule in 2026-27 season, when is week 1? They'll start the season against the Commanders at home in week 1 on September 13th. In week 2, they're going to play Tennessee Titans on the road. And then they're going to go to Chicago week 3 on Monday night. And then back home against the Rams in week 4. And then week 5, they're going to play Jaguars in London, I believe. Yep, they're playing Jacksonville Jaguars in London. Jaguars will be a home team. And then week 6, they're going to play the Panthers at home. They're going to play the Cowboys at home in week 7. I think that's a Monday night game. And then in week 8, they got to play the Commanders on the road on Sunday night. Then week 9, they're going to play the Giants at home. And then they'll have a bye in week 10. And then they'll play the Steelers in week 11 before. And then they have a short week of Thanksgiving late afternoon in Dallas in week 12. And then they'll play the Cardinals on the road in week 13. And they'll play the Colts at home week 14. And then they'll play the Seahawks at home week 15. And then they'll play the Texans at home week 16. And then at San Francisco in week 17. And they'll wrap up the season at the Giants in week 18. So here's the schedule. How's the schedule going to look like this season? All right, so week 1, they're going to play the Washington Commanders at home. That's a W. Week 2 at Tennessee. That's a W. Then week 3 at Chicago. That's a W. They're 3-0. Week 4 against the Rams at home. That's a L. Week 5 against Jaguars in London. That's a L. Week 6 against the Panthers at home. Back in the win column. Make it 4-2, and then they'll play the Cowboys at home. That's a win column. Make it 5-2. And that Commanders, they'll probably lose that one. The Giants, they'll win. They'll be 6-3. And then it gets a little tougher. They'll play the Steelers at home. That's a L, 6-4. And then at Dallas, that's a L, 6-5. At Arizona, they'll win that one, make it 7-5. Indianapolis at home, they'll lose that one, 7-6. Then Seattle at home, loss 7-7. Then Texas at home, win 8-7. At 49ers, loss 8-8. Then at the Giants, they'll win. Actually, at the Giants, actually a loss. So the Eagles will go 8-9. The Eagles will not make the playoffs. The Eagles will start 5-2, and then they're probably going to lose 7 of the final. I mean, they're going to start 5-2, something like that. Am I right? Or 6-3? Yeah, they're going to start 6-3, and then they're going to go in 3-6 stretch. Those 3 wins were Arizona and. I mean, this is a really tough stretch for Philadelphia. Maybe there's some of these, maybe the games you could win, and some games you should have won. the schedule. I pick Eagles 8-9 because I think the inconsistency is going to continue because of that. So that's why I chose Eagles 8-9. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. It's really tough. It's tough to see it right now. Let's see if they can go through that process. Eagles have not missed the playoffs since 2020-21 season. That was Jalen Hurts' first season in the NFL, and Carson Wentz's final season as Eagles starting quarterback. And Doug Peterson was still head coach before he got fired. All right, coming up next, we'll preview Thunder at Spurs, Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. Tonight, Thunder has a 3-2 series advantage. And then what is also I'm going to talk about my favorite topics, like who I covered the most throughout the 99 episodes. So this is episode 100, a milestone day for me. This is an exciting moment. I just want to take a moment that I am so proud about this. I will do as many episodes I can. I love you, man. We'll be right back. All right, tonight, Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals is between the Oklahoma City Thunder. Will visit the San Antonio Spurs, live from Frost Bank Center in San Antonio, Texas. Oklahoma City Thunder come off a 127-114 victory in Oklahoma City to regain the series lead 3-2. Thunder has a chance to close it out tonight. If Thunder wins tonight, they will host the Knicks in the NBA Finals on June 3rd. If the Spurs win tonight at home, they will force the Game 7 in Oklahoma City on deciding who will be the Western Conference champions. So, lots on the line with their Spurs season hanging in the balance. Spurs are playing their first elimination game of this postseason. We'll get to that a little bit later. Tonight, the Thunder is 2-0 in clinching opportunities in this postseason. Both have been Game 4 wins against the Suns in the first round and the Lakers in the second round of the semifinals. Let's see if the Thunder can do it in the conference finals of the West. How the Thunder will have to close it out tonight on the road against their hostile territory. Well, it's not about SGA tonight. It's about role players to close out. They're not just relying on SGA. They have to rely on anyone else, like other than, it could be Chet Holmgren, could be Cason Wallace, could be Isaiah Hartenstein. It could be anyone could step up if they want to close out to eliminate the Spurs tonight. I mean, this is critical because Game 6 is the biggest game. If they want to avoid the best two words, Game 7, you need a win on the road. Because Game 6 is watching you. Game 6 is watching you right now because this is an opportunity for the Thunder to close out on the road. Right now, the road closeouts have been dominant so far this postseason. In road clinching opportunities in the playoffs, NBA is 7-3 in road closeout games in this postseason. That's the best winning percentage in a minimum of 10 road closeout games in the history of the NBA. NBA is 7-3 in closeout games. Could be amongst game 4, 5, 6, or 7. So let's count the road wins, road closeout wins in the NBA. Knicks are 3-0 in road closeouts. Knicks won in game 6 of the first round against the Hawks. Knicks won in game 4 against the 76ers. They swept them. And then Knicks won in game 4 in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cavs. So Knicks have the best closeout road records in the NBA this postseason. And then you got the 76ers winning game 7 of the East first round against the Celtics. That's 4 total wins right there. You got Thunder beating the Suns in game 4 of the Western first round, and you beat the Lakers in the Western Conference second round semifinals. That's 2-0. So that's 6 wins right there. And then the Cavaliers won game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. So that's that. The 3 losses, they had a chance to close out. Magic did it twice. They lost in game 5 when they had a 3-1 lead, and then they lost game 7 to the Pistons when the series was tied at 3 in the first round. And then the Raptors lost in game 7 on the road in the first round when the series was tied. So far, road closeouts are 7-3 in the NBA. So the road clinching opportunities has dominated the headlines so far in this postseason. So that would be that here. Now for the Spurs, how the Spurs can keep their dream season alive. Victor Wembanyama has got to be aggressive tonight. Victor Wembanyama has to be aggressive tonight. Not just Victor Wembanyama, the teammates. Teammates has to play well tonight. Like Victor Wembanyama's teammates, like Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, De'Aaron Fox, Keldon Johnson, Luke Cornett. Everybody of the Spurs will have to play well tonight to avoid elimination. Like I said, if the Spurs win tonight, the series goes back to Oklahoma on May 30th, which is this Saturday. It will be game 7. If Thunder wins, they go to the finals on June 3rd. So how the Spurs can avoid elimination tonight, they got to be aggressive on both ends of the floor. It's going to be critical. It's going to be really critical here. Because of that, those situations really got to have it right now. Because of that, this is a good sign for the sport and good sign for the league. But it does really help their own cause. Because of that, you really want to see your way. So it really felt like they can do everything else along with it. So you might as well not worry about it in each time. So now Spurs elimination games. So they're facing elimination for the first time since Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals in 2017. Spurs are 24-35 when facing elimination all time in franchise history. So if the Spurs win at least one game, if Spurs win, they will be 25-35. If Spurs win the next 2 elimination games, they will be 26-35 if the Spurs can go 2-0 in that situation. Right now, most of that has been the Greg Popovich era when facing elimination. This is the first elimination game in the Mitch Johnson era and Victor Wembanyama era. So this is a huge moment for them to step up in Game 6. All right, so this is my crucial pick of the day in Game 6. Who am I picking tonight's Game 6? Should I pick the Thunder to close out on the road tonight, or should I pick the Spurs to keep their season alive to force Game 7 back in Oklahoma City on Saturday night? Well, I'm going to go on the right side. I don't think the Spurs are going home tonight. I like the Spurs taking down the Thunder in San Antonio Game 6. I think the Spurs will take down the Thunder to force Game 7 back in Oklahoma City on Saturday night to see what they do here. I like Spurs winning in Game 6 to keep their hopes alive. I would love to see it right now because of that here. I like Spurs winning Game 6. I think there's going to be Game 7 on Saturday. So we're going to keep that in mind right now. All right, come next. When we come back, I'm going to talk my favorite topics of JDB's morning cap that I covered it the most. And we'll talk all of that. And then we'll wrap up this show of this milestone. What's coming up in tomorrow's episode? As their school is out. It's graduate season. It's going to be exciting. Summer's coming up. So we all know that. We'll be right back. All right, so we already completed 99 episodes. Now, when I stop that video, 100 episodes will complete. This is 100 today. This is 100th episode. This is a milestone. So, this is the final segment of the show before I continue tomorrow. What was my favorite? All right, so what was my favorite topics so far in this year's JDB's morning cap? To me, it's got to be. I covered a lot of NFL stuff this year because I've been covered the Cowboys. I've been covered the Buffalo Bills a lot. I've been covered the Ravens a lot. I covered a bunch. I covered the Cowboys the most, and I covered AJ Brown the most. So, and I covered the Buffalo Bills. So I've been covered everything. I've been covered for almost every NFL teams, like the Cowboys, Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, Bengals, Raiders, 49ers, Seahawks, Patriots. The list goes on and on. And we've just been talking about when I covered all these teams, or some of those, this is the most topics I've been covered is the NFL. I covered a lot of NFL throughout these episodes. Most of the episodes, not all the episodes, but most of the episodes. I've been covering a lot of NFL. I've been covered some college football as well, and I've been covered some college basketball, including majority of March Madness, largely March Madness. I've been covered some Major League Baseball as well. I've been covered the NBA. The second most I've been topic is the NBA. I mean, that was a good sign. When I call NFL, most common topics is the NFL and the NBA. Mostly NFL because this is one of the important things is football. And the NBA, what I mostly covered, yes, my favorite team, Celtics. I covered the Lakers quite a lot. I covered LeBron James, and I covered all some of these teams like Warriors, Thunder, Cavs. And I covered the NBA playoffs. I covered the regular season. But I covered the greatest NBA games on the season. I mean, we've seen a bunch of those. And I've been covering a lot of NBA playoff games. I had to do that heavy load the past couple of months. I had to cover all the playoff games in a heavy load. I mean, I've been covered like I said, the most common topic I've been talking about is the NFL. I've been talking about the Cowboys a lot. I've been talking about the Eagles a lot. I've been talking about a lot of A.J. Brown, a lot of football players, notable football players. I've been talking a lot of Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons. I've been talking a lot of stuff. I talked Josh Allen. I talked Joe Burrow. I'll talk everybody else in the NFL, players. I mean, and Matthew Stafford. I mean, I've been covering a lot of topics in the NFL in most of my episodes. Not all of it, but most of my episodes of JDB's Morning Cap. But I'm just saying, NBA is the second most topic I've been covering. My first is the NFL, NBA. The least topic is the college sports, like college football and basketball. I haven't. When I watch college football, I watch college football as well and college basketball. But I haven't done much topics of both college football and basketball. I will cover more college football later on this year. So I'm gonna cover the best games of the day that I want to see. So it's not like college football game day on ESPN or Big Noon football on Fox. It's about games of the week, games of the year. I care about the most. Is about all that. So I'll cover more college football later on this year when I get to. So college football season is not too far away. It doesn't start till end of August of this year. So it's going to be excited. A cool moment for that in this one here. But yeah, so the least I've been talking about is college sports. Major League Baseball, I did cover some Major League Baseball, not a whole lot. I do watch baseball, but I haven't covered that much. But the only thing I covered is updating the standings and the headlines. Like example, the Astros did a combined no-hitter last Monday. Like example, the Yankees could go in the World Series and win it. There's an example, but I haven't covered that much I haven't covered Major League Baseball that much because there's certainly I just did not mention about that. But I am going to cover Major League Baseball for some parts. Like, it could be mid-season, All-Star break. And I will cover Major League Baseball postseason if that's the case. So, and this is a great opportunity to step on out and now be that. So this is a great moment. 100 episodes. We got 100 more to go to 200. But it's going to be incredible. It's going to be an incredible ride. So, like I said, this was a cool moment. Show never dies. All right, let's close it out here. But before I do that, I just want to give the moment. I want to take the moment that it has been a wonderful blast. We're about to complete 100 episodes of this show. Today was a great day for me. Today is May 28th, 2026. I would never get next year, May 28th, 2027. It will mark 1 year ago. We will mark 1 year anniversary that I did the milestone of 100 episodes. So next year, May 28th, 2027, it will be marking 1 year. 1 year when I did 100th episode of the milestone. It is gonna be great. It is gonna be a good moment right now. I'm happy that this has been, it's been really good right now. So not the way it turned it out, but it really helps them the most. But we cannot be more excited than this in this one. So we've been talking about it throughout this week. I just want to say I love you every day, man. I mean, it's about passion, inspiring, powerful, and all that stuff. But you just don't want to follow any dark footsteps. You do not want to do that. But it's gonna help you to change your life. It's gonna help you to change your life, because right now you talk about every day. You do your own podcast. You sacrifice your opportunity. And I sacrifice my own opportunity. And to take advantage, get up in the morning, do your in-morning routine, do your stuff right now, do your in-morning healthy routine. That's the key. You gotta have good, healthy bodies. And it's really hard to go through that, because right now, when you sleep too long, you're not healthy enough to get back up. You gotta exercise, you gotta work out, you gotta shake yourself loose. It's gonna matter. You just gotta stay healthy. Drink plenty of water, eat consistently. You don't have to eat much, just eat consistently. Okay? And that's that. All right. What's coming up in tomorrow's episode? Tomorrow will be episode 101. Tomorrow, I'll recap Game 6, whether or not if Thunder closed it out tonight. So if the Spurs, I will preview Game 7 between the Thunder and Spurs. If the Spurs win tonight, I'll preview Game 7 tomorrow for the Saturday's game, for May 30th game on Saturday. If the Thunder wins tonight, then I don't have to preview Game 7 tomorrow. So there's something to get to tomorrow, so we all know. Also, I want to talk about is I want to talk about more NFL stuff. I want to talk about the OTAs of Lamar Jackson. I'll talk about that tomorrow. And the list goes on and on. So I will choose selected segments. So I'll keep that updated as soon as I can here. So we are just excited right now. Okay, so before I signed off, I just want to thank you for all the moments, for the milestone 100 episodes of JDB's Morning Cap. I will continue this podcast tomorrow and beyond. I'll try to provide more episodes and all that stuff. This is an incredible moment for me. Now I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna get some bunch of rest and watch the huge Game 6 tonight. So buckle up your seatbelts, because Game 6 is gonna be spicy tonight in San Antonio. We already know that. All right, man. This is JDB's Morning Cap. We'll be back at it tomorrow. I'm happy that this is 100th episode, and hope my day is fabulous and same as you.